right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Motor City Uncut, episode 160, presented by the Major Sports Network Detroit. I'm your host, Dorf, joined each and every week by Major Sports Network founder Adam Hernandez and
hello.
And part-timer's not here again. Boss fade there, man. That went from way to nothing.
I know, I kind of dragged my arm a little bit.
Yeah, nice job.
Do you want me to do it again?
Yeah, let's give it another shot. That's better. Don't make the people's ears bleed. Yeah, part-timer's not here again. So, seat's empty. You want to show it to real quick? Sean's seat's empty. All right, anyway, no.
Should we get like a dummy of him or something?
I was thinking like
one of those like
like the face cutouts or whatever on the top of the popsicle stick, like you see it like they've seen it at the Olympics.
Yeah,
just tape it to the top of the chair, or like somehow rig it up on the mic stand.
Let's do it.
No, he's got to travel for work early in the morning, so
it's not a paper.
He needs a good night's sleep.
Sean has a big head.
I know. We could just buy an old Jabba Chamberlain fat head and
just use that instead.
Yeah, use that instead. Or no, Matt Patricia now. He is kind of his spirit animal.
There's a little bit of a resemblance there between him and Matt Patricia.
Yeah. First it was Jabba, now it's Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia has a little bit darker hair
than Sean does.
Yeah, but they're about like they're like the same height and same build.
And Matt Patricia's a lot cooler than Jabba Chamberlain is.
And Matt Patricia also has an aeronautical engineering degree, and Sean doesn't.
Yes.
There's Jabba.
No.
He went to the University of Nebraska for a bit.
To do what?
Like I don't know. Baseball.
Corn and baseball?
Yeah, baseball. And
I'm assuming that's all they do there in the University of Nebraska.
I mean, they so much so that they named the university after their mascot after it.
Husking some corn.
Husking some corn. That's what we do here. Anyway, speaking of Matt Patricia, sort of tangentially, Bob Quinn has received a 5-year contract extension from the Detroit Lions. Now his tenure scheduled to last the same amount of time as Matt Patricia's contract. I mean, not that you wouldn't say that their fates wouldn't have been tied together anyway, regardless of the lengths of their deals. It's now a little more formally so.
It's weird. I think this isn't something the Lions usually do. I mean, it always seems like their GM and their head coach are always, their fates are always separate from each other. But
I mean, they still very well could because
I know
there's no salary cap on personnel.
No, I understand that, but it seems like their fates in this sense are much more interconnected, considering the timeliness that each of them got. Well, when Patricia got hired and got his contract,
I think that might have been like Rodwood and the
perhaps
executive non-football side of things was kind of their thinking,
But it certainly
Let's
does.
at least ensure both these guys that they'll be working together for the duration of their tenures here. Mm-hmm. Let's tie them together. That gives them the stability, and the peace of mind knowing that there'll be consistency at both positions.
Then again, I mean, Quinn can go and fire Patricia
tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow or in 2
I'm sure he'll have to. Hey Martha, hi, we just gave this guy 38. I don't know what the financial terms of Patricia's contract. We just gave this guy $40 million over the next 5 years, also known the rest of your life.
Okay.
I want to get rid of him already.
Hold on, I'm watching Matlock. Sorry, yeah, the Golden Girls may be a little pissed off about that, but
I would assume they would be.
Yeah. See, she always wears her sunglasses. Always.
I wonder why.
Even at the
indoors.
Intro. Yeah, even at the intro, the presser, she was wearing her sunglasses. She's not blind, is she?
I hope. I don't think
she
so.
is. I even like the South Park episode when they had Goodellbot on.
They put her on the screen of all the NFL
owners. The NFL owners. They had her wearing the sunglasses.
A+ for accuracy, Matt and Trey. Anyway, in your mind, Adam, did Bob Quinn do enough for this extension?
I think it's I don't know if it's so much that he deserved it. Let's just say I understand it.
Okay.
I understand it. I understand that they wanted a parallel move to Matt Patricia, and they got it. I mean, Matt. I think whatever Patricia was going to get, that's what they were going to extend Bob Quinn to, because Patricia was their guy. Patricia's the guy that they wanted as their head coach, and
you can look at the archive. I was advocating when Quinn came along to bring Patricia with him at the beginning.
Oh, when he was
it
hired.
took 2 years, but
no, yeah, I know
we got it.
And I was never convinced. I know people like to, I know people like to make that argument for Jim Caldwell, like, oh, there was nobody else available, or
bullshit. There's always somebody else available.
Exactly, there's always somebody available, and you could never convince me that a Patriot guy, a lifelong Patriot guy, and Bob Quinn wanted an Indianapolis Colt. Yes,
especially now when you see the drama between the two organizations.
Oh, absolutely.
Although, to be fair, Caldwell did come from the Ravens at the time. He was the OC.
Yeah, but he was never known as the offensive coordinator of the Ravens.
He was the QB. Well, he was the QB coach in Baltimore after his firing from Indianapolis, for Caldwell facing all the way down the field. Although, to be fair, I don't think anybody could win more games than he did with Curtis Painter the year that Peyton Manning was out. Then went to the QB coach. Then the offensive coordinator of the Ravens was fired in the middle of their Super Bowl run. And he was elevated to OC, won the Super Bowl, and ta-da, here he is in Detroit.
Yeah, so I think it's I don't know. I understand it. I understand it's a parallel move that they wanted. They're going to interconnect those two guys together. Patricia is clearly Quinn's guy.
Yep.
Nobody else's. So I don't want to say he's going to live or die with Matt Patricia, but it certainly seems like that could be the direction that they possibly could be going with here, that if Patricia doesn't succeed, then Quinn's not going to succeed. So I kind of like it in the sense that this is what real organizations do.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they hold their general manager's feet to the fire when for so many years it's been, excuse after excuse after excuse, second chance after second chance after second chance.
When the 0-16 season happened and Matt Millen was canned, they promoted from within. Nobody else left, generally speaking. I'm sure there was a couple. I don't remember.
It didn't seem like for the most part, yeah.
There was no turnover. Heads didn't roll. You're the most inept, well, no longer the most inept, solo most inept football franchise in NFL history on the single season level.
Yeah.
Nobody, you replaced from within. That's ridiculous.
You replaced Matt Millen with his second-hand, his second in command. Yeah. That's who you replaced him with. You replaced him with Matt Millen, too.
Stuff stayed the same, and you wondered why. Yes, there were playoff appearances. Yes, there were strides taken forward. But speaking of which, Martin Mayhew this offseason has gotten GM interviews, right?
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's the number 2 guy in San Fran.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Who, by the way, would be an interesting story to dive into them, more of a national broadcast. The quick and turbo-sized turnaround of the 49ers. They're in a really good spot, man.
Who's the guy there? John Lynch now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so far so good with him.
You hired a man out of the TV booth, and it seems like he actually knows what he's doing.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the Majors Live for a second. Well, because we can bring that up real quick.
We need more than a second for that. I should do some homework before we do a deep dive, but...
Let's say this.
We'll schedule it.
One thing, though, I know a lot of people were kind of scratching their heads and all up in arms about the Jimmy G contract extension, or the money that he was getting.
Cost of doing business, man.
It is
right in lines with what.
No,
and the crazier part is he could have gotten more had he had free agency.
You considering what San Francisco gave up to get him.
Second rounder.
He came in a lifeless offense in San Francisco. Garoppolo put on his back and
by the way,
well. And
the vaunted Jaguars defense dropped 50 on those guys.
Mm-hmm. So it's like you said, it's the price of doing business. That the market dictates what what quarterbacks are going to make.
And you have to realize, that the highest paid player in NFL history, he's going to hold that title for probably another month or two.
Yeah.
Whenever Kirk Cousins signed his contract.
Kirk Cousins is going to
And Kirk Cousins is going to hold that for maybe a year, and then it's going to be the next time, Aaron Rodgers or Matt Ryan gets paid. Or, if Drew Brees wasn't as old as he is, he would be breaking that record this offseason. Don't put, the highest paid player in the league, if you look at the last 5 years, just happens to be the latest decent quarterback to get paid.
Yeah,
Joe Flacco was the highest paid player in the league for almost a year.
Yeah. Just because you're the highest paid player in the league doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be the best player in the league, or you are the best player in the league. This is not how it works in the NFL. It's kind of a weird model. I don't know if it's the best model for doing business, but that is the way that you do business in the NFL.
And that was also kind of the way that baseball was going until we had this off-season correction, this current off-season, where there was an absolute correction in the market where guys are, you're seeing Darvish sign for 6 and 126 this year, where arguably, what was it? When did John Lester sign his contract? 3 years ago?
2 or 3 years ago.
2 or 3 years ago, he got more money over the same years, despite the fact he's like 3 years older, and on paper, blind comparison isn't as good
as Darvish.
Yeah. Although John Lester equals clutch in the playoffs, Darvish equals choke master.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy that JD Martinez, the best hitter in this free agent class, no commotion. And, by the way, pitchers and catchers report this week.
I know we're kind of getting away from the Bob Quinn thing a little bit.
We'll get back to it.
Question for you, though.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering about this whole JD Martinez thing.
Yeah.
Is this teams pumping the brakes a little bit and realizing what JD Martinez actually is?
Mm-hmm. No, I think this is more of a statement on the free agent market this offseason.
Okay.
You had, for the longest time, baseball front offices and personnel decisions are made by old-timey GMs who manage by gut and intuition. Now it's, run by Harvard stat nerds or Ivy League stat nerds who have realized that no free agent is essentially worth it. Unless, of course, you are one player away. The 1 or 2 players away. And nobody who needs a corner outfielder desperately enough to pay that much money is 1 or 2 players away.
Yeah,
and you know what? Scott Boras isn't wrong about one thing. He made a statement publicly this week or last about there's essentially 12 teams in a full on admittant tank mode and a race to the bottom. Because it works. That's the stupid part. It works. There's no reason to invest in anybody right now. We need to suck for 5 years. We need to reload and then make strategic decisions like the Astros. The Astros didn't spend any money for 3 or 4 years. And then when the ingrown talent was maturing, they went and made strategic spending decisions. Like
look where they are now.
Carlos Beltran.
Justin Verlander.
Verlander's a little bit later in the, like Brian McCann was a strategic acquisition.
Well, in
Josh Reddick.
Well, in that case too, Dorf, success is much more sustainable.
Exactly.
It's you're not going out there and having to constantly look over your shoulder or look where the next guy is coming from, because the next guy usually is coming within your own system. It's not something that.
And another thing you've seen to kind of stave off the outrageousness in free agent spending is the teams that spend a lot of money are dumping money in international free agency.
God, that's something I wish the Tigers would do.
Can't anymore. No one can anymore.
I know. It's just I wish the Tigers are more inclined to do something like that.
At the same time, the Los Angeles Dodgers are like the biggest spenders in international free agency.
Yeah.
They spent $40 some odd million on Yasiel Puig before he had played a game outside of Cuba. They also had another infielder out of Cuba. His name is escaping. Alex Guerrero. They spent 4 years and $28 million, $7 million a year for 4 years on him. He sucked. He made it to the big leagues and barely played. They dumped him. Another guy.
Who's the Red Sox? Who was their outfielder?
The big time.
Cuba.
Shoot. He's left-handed. He plays center field. He's still in the organization. I'm forgetting who he is, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah, they spent like 39 million bucks on him. You know, if you actually look at his numbers, he's major league quality, just not for that organization. They spent $60-some million on Yoan Moncada. They dealt him before he made it to the big leagues.
Rusney Castillo.
Yeah, that's who it is. Rusney Castillo. You know, and there was another guy. He ended up signing for $30-some million with the Dodgers out of Cuba. Didn't ever play for them. He got traded to the Braves. Like, beat the shit out of his girlfriend. Then got traded to the Padres, who played him for 5 minutes, and then he got cut. Is in the league. Had zero impact at the big league level.
It's too bad.
Yeah, so you've seen a lot of big investments. And in Daisuke Matsuzaka, another example. Huge investment.
Yeah, he flamed out. Like 2-3 years?
He had this first 2.5 years are very good. There's never any good after that.
He threw like everything too, didn't he?
Yeah.
He had like 6 pitches or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 that were effective.
Yeah. Just because you can throw it doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, that's true. I'm guessing a lot of major league pitchers can throw basically anything.
I'm sure, screwing around in the bullpen, hey, here's a forkball.
Yeah.
Will a major league quality hitter pummel that? Yeah.
That's why I don't throw.
Exactly. Back to Bob Quinn and his extension. It is the cost of doing business.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a terrible investment. He's end of his second year. Overall, he's 18-14. Keeping in mind that would make him like the most successful general manager in franchise history by winning percentage. That's irrelevant, but that's just fine. That's the right move to make. Not taking Lions history into account, because you shouldn't. That's not how good organizations do it. They compare themselves to the benchmarks throughout the industry, which in this case happen to be the Patriots. All right. I want to go over Bob Quinn's first 2 years as Lions general manager, and kind of assign, the classic letter grade for the 3 major things he's responsible for directly: the draft, free agency, and in-season transactions, whether those be free agent signings, guys off the street / trades. We'll call free agency is off-season trades. So in-season trades or in-season and out-season moves plus the draft.
Okay.
Keeping in mind, C is average, league average. Average. What do you give Bob Quinn's drafting so far in his first 2 years?
Let's see here. Just trying to kind of go over some of the stuff that he's brought forth here. Let's see. First selection last year is Jared Davis. Who was it the first year? Taylor Decker. That's right. Really like Taylor Decker.
Really do. Yep.
Obviously, he was hurt for a little bit last year. Not really Bob Quinn's fault. Jared Davis. You know what?
At least he's not Reuben Foster.
At least he's not Reuben Foster.
Everybody wanted.
Everybody wanted. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and give him a B-.
Okay.
B- for draft picks.
At the same time, he really hasn't had the chance for guys to flame out per se.
True.
But also keep in mind, just looking at his 2 draft classes, he's gotten good value out of the late rounds. I mean, you did find a starting defensive end in the 6th round. And everybody in the top 4 rounds is contributing right away. The one criticism you can take is Dwayne Washington's been a bum. Jake Rudock, he's a backup QB, whatever. But your 5th rounder and on from both drafts haven't played.
And the Jake Rudock thing too. That's something that
who cares?
Essentially, who cares?
Good organizations do take QBs.
No, they
at
do.
Least 3 out of 4 years.
And you know what? That's something that the Patriots do
Always
The
have.
Patriots always do that. People clamoring for the Lions to be like the
took
Patriots.
Garoppolo in the second round, 4 years ago?
Yeah,
by the 2 years later, took Jacoby Brissett in the third round.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, too? They could have probably flipped
Rudak for something.
For something, yeah.
Probably a sixth rounder.
Probably, but you would have gotten that back then.
Yeah, what you invested in him. Absolutely.
Exactly. So
I mean, you drafted such a valuable backup practice squad commodity in Brad Kaya. You had him and lost him 3 different times.
Exactly. I don't even know where he's at right now. Do you know where he's at? He's not with the Lions. I know that.
He's somewhere else.
I want to say he's in Indy.
I think you're right.
I'll look it up.
I'm like 95% sure he's in Indy. Yes, Colts. Yeah, he's in a future reserve deal with the Colts. You had a 6th rounder, and you haven't had anybody not play in the league at all, outside of long snapper Jimmy Landis, which is his 3rd, 6th rounder 2 years ago. Kid got hurt immediately. He probably would have taken Dom Nealback's job. He got hurt in camp.
Well, you're not looking for your general manager.
And then you're essentially your Mr. Irrelevant pick this last year, Pat O'Connor at pick 250. Didn't make your team, ended up playing like a cup of coffee in Tampa.
No, look, I'm not concerned about the 6th or 7th round picks.
Exactly. I'm gonna go B.
B.
You've gotten, let's see, 1, 2, 3 functional starters. 4 functional starters in year 1, 2 functional reserves, and you've got 4 functional starters and 3 functional reserves in the second year. So
it is what it is. Yeah,
that's honestly, guys, that's an A- to me. It's not like he was picking in the top 5 on either draft where you needed to land a star. You landed your franchise left tackle and a pretty damn good modern middle linebacker guy that has the athleticism to grow into that.
You're giving Quinn an A-?
I am.
Wow.
I am. Very happy with this. Oh, by the way, first team All-Pro returner in the 5th round this year. Nice job. Really nice job. What about free agency? Keep in mind, he's only had... Yeah, he's had 2 classes. 2 free agent classes.
Let's see. What's the big one he brought in?
The big ones were these last 2... This past year, Wagner and Lang.
It's... Thing about the offensive line is it was a huge disappointment.
You can argue collectively the most of the year Wagner were I can't. Lang and Wagner.
You want to say?
Go ahead. Lang and Wagner, yes. Lang and Wagner collectively were playing on one leg.
Yeah.
I'm not too concerned that those 2 will not bounce back. And you know what? Even so, playing on one leg, they still graded out as about 80 overall in Pro Football Focus. I'm not concerned.
Can I do this?
Sure.
Can I give him an incomplete?
Yeah. Sure. Bitch move, fence sitter.
Because I know that's a total Sean bitch move, but
could you ride the fence a little more?
I see what you're saying. I can't give him a grade yet on this.
That's fair.
I can't because it's like you said, it's only 2 years in. I don't want to give him a bad grade for guys getting hurt in their first season with the team. I don't want to do that. Now, if they come back and they're hurt again next year, I think that's something that we can take a look at and hold against him a little bit.
Fair enough.
So I'm going to go ahead and give Quinn an incomplete right now when it comes to free agency.
I've got, just the recap. I mean, this past season you have You got great value out of signing Darren Fells. Got more than your money's worth from him.
I thought that was a good signing.
Cornelius Washington wasn't bad. Akeem Spence graded out just under an 80 overall in Pro Football Focus. You're getting him at $3 million a year. It's a good signing. DJ Hayden, whatever.
Yeah.
Paul Warlow was a bum, but then again, he wasn't supposed to play much. He's supposed to be, fourth linebacker, special teamer. Whatever.
I'm not looking again though. Like their draft picks, you can't sit here and count on them hitting on every single free agent signing or every single draft pick. That they
in this last year, they didn't have a lot of money to spend, and that's okay. I mean, you had in the year before that they really didn't do anything outside of trading for Haloti Ngata, and re-signing Tahir Whitehead. Other than that, they didn't really do anything.
Is re-signing Tahir Whitehead a Quinn move?
Yes.
Okay.
You re-signed him the first time. It was a 2-year, $8 million deal. Now he's a free agent again. We'll get to that later. But yeah, that's really all he's done. He hasn't done much. Free agency. I'm going to go C there because, like you said, your two cornerstone pieces played wounded all year and didn't perform up to expectations, but they were still all right.
Wang and Wagner.
Shut up. It'll be a living meme forever. Sorry, guys. What about in-season stuff? Transactions, free agency. Oh, I forgot Tavon Wilson 2 years ago. Great value for him as well. Turned out you got more than your money's worth. Even though he wasn't the greatest in coverage, you got more than what you paid for. Okay, next. In-season stuff. Happy with it?
The moves throughout the season.
And to be fair, he's had very, very good overall health. Not a lot of guys going down for the year early in the season where he's going to have to sign some guys off the street. Your main off the street signing this past year was Dwight Freeney, and he didn't do anything.
Who's the guy that they got from? Did they trade? Who's the guy they got from the Rams?
Greg Robinson.
Yeah, was that a trade?
That was technically it was a trade, but it was in the preseason.
Okay.
I don't know how we're defining that, but that was a preseason. I think he gave up a 6th for it.
No, you're right though about
he's had very good health.
Yes, he has. Aside from Lang and Wagner.
I mean, your one guy that you really missed as a starter this year on long-term injury was Haloti Ngata.
Mm-hmm. And they did. They missed
him a lot. You look
Ngata.
at the before and after, specifically defending the run numbers, it's like 60 yards a game difference.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
In-season stuff, I'll go ahead and give him a C+.
Yeah, exactly. Average, but he hasn't had to pull any miracles off. He hasn't found, Joe Bob Schmitter and whatever that was a undrafted free agent, been on somebody's practice squad for 2 years, and you sign off the street in week 5, and he ends up starting and making plays for you in the playoffs. You haven't had that.
No.
Because you haven't really needed it either.
And you got to make the playoffs.
Which is also a good sign of, which is also a good sign of depth. Good organizational depth. You haven't needed to have that happen. Okay.
Yeah.
Next.
Slowly but surely. I mean, they're working themselves into a very respectable organization.
And you know what? I don't think they are, one draft pick away from making a run where, like, I would say, oh, fuck it, let's trade it for Saquon Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
They're not one draft pick away. They still need a full draft class. They still need to, pick at their spot or looking for trading down opportunities. But at the same time, you're in a position where you can take your full draft class and then make a few irresponsible free agency moves.
But look
because you are that close.
Look at it like this, though, too, Dorf. I mean, when it came to going out and getting their next head coach,
sure.
Look who they were up against in all of this. They were up against they're up against the Giants. They're up against the Giants. The Giants, who,
by the way, have won 2 Super Bowls in the last decade.
Exactly. If the Giants really, really wanted Matt Patricia,
they would have gotten him.
They would have gotten him. And you know what?
Would have not been an acceptable answer.
And you know what? They probably did. they probably really, really, really wanted him. Maybe that's the wrong way to go into that, but the Lions won.
He said no to come here.
The Lions won that sweepstakes for him. And I'm sorry, but you can't convince me that people around the league wanted anybody else but the two
Patriot
assistant coaches with the Patriots. Whether it be Josh McDaniels or Matt Patricia.
I would argue Pat Shermer was a pretty popular candidate. Who ended up going to New York.
He was their second choice, though.
Yeah,
Patricia was their first.
Pat Shermer was getting a job somewhere this year.
He was, but was he the most sought after guy?
No,
he wasn't.
Not.
I think the Lions, aside from Josh McDaniels, who ended up not going anywhere, was probably the most sought after guy on the free agent coaching market this offseason.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to fluff the Lions up too much here, but there has to be something to be made from.
You got to say something about there's something to be said about that.
No, you have to give.
When you look at the Jim Caldwell sweepstakes, out of the 4 coaches that were essentially hired around the same time, he was the 4th option. Ken Wisenhunt, who everybody wanted, was fired before the end of his second year because he was a boob. Mm-hmm. And that was a fair criticism. Team sucked. They drafted a QB number 2 overall, whatever Mariota went. The following season, and that's fine. You got the 4th option, the 4th best player available, per se. You didn't do that this offseason. No. You got the best. I will argue that you got the best, not one of the 1A versus 1B or one first or second. No, you got the best.
Yeah, especially you
got Darth Hoodie 25 years younger.
Yeah, you look to see what the other option. Was it Steve Wilkes? No.
I'm sorry,
Mike
but
Vrabel? No. The linebackers coach from the Packers? Sorry. No.
You're not going to convince me the linebacker coach from the Packers wasn't a Rooney Rule thing. Packers linebackers haven't been good in a long time. He was this year's Rooney Rule candidate.
Well, wasn't Terrell Austin?
That's what he was the last 2 years. He was everybody's quota filler.
No, but they got it. They got their guy. They got their guy, and they got the most sought after head coach on him combined with McDaniels. The Lions got him, and I'm sorry. I know fans love to hate on the Lions, but you know what? In this sense, right now,
you got nothing.
You've got
no whammo.
You've got to give props to Bob Quinn, because you know what? Maybe, just maybe, he is changing how people around the NFL are looking at this organization.
And if you look at the decision to retain Bob Quinn, you did have the 7th best scoring offense in the NFL. Ultimately, you can look at all the different metrics, but it's about putting points on the board.
Exactly.
You had the 7th best offense. That's that's upper third. Don't mess with it. It's not broken. Don't fix it. No, you absolutely have room to improve in the running game. You did fire your offensive line coach. You did bring in fresh blood there. I think it'll be. Definitely scheme is a major part of it, but talent is the bigger part of it. Hopefully you'll address that this offseason. I think Bob Quinn's post-draft press conference about why didn't you take a running back? Well, we didn't think when we were ready to take somebody, there was anybody better available. By the way, you could have had Alvin Kamara, you dumbass. That'll kind of come back to bite him because it was arguably the deepest draft class in modern times.
Today?
Who's that?
You're about Kareem Hunt today?
Yeah, allegedly pushing somebody, a female.
Over the weekend.
You know what? I'm going to... Okay. Anytime somebody says pushed, that could be pushed, and throwing you across the room could be pushed. And if someone's sitting there, I'm willing to hear this one out, due process and all.
Oh, dear.
I am willing to let the process play out here, because what?
Process.
I'm willing to let that happen because there's a very wide definition of what push is, and it could be get away from me. You're being weird to, or trying in the process of beating somebody
Well,
up.
I don't know
And
exactly.
there's a big difference.
I don't know I don't exactly know what the context was.
Exactly. I want to hear the
Well,
context.
no, I didn't even. I just saw it come across my phone.
Yeah, that's all I've seen too.
That's all. I have to.
That's all I've seen.
Maybe
as well.
it wasn't even fair of me to bring it up. But anyways.
Well, you know what? And on that note, like I was saying, push could be, bro, to except in the male female dynamic, to like I said, throwing you across the room.
Well,
those are both pushes. And without context, those two scenarios are not equal. Those, context matters here, and I'm not willing to go any further before figuring that context out.
Okay.
Anyway, next, Pistons. Made 2 trades on deadline day, like 2 in an hour. Stan Van Gundy was busy, but not quite as busy as the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Jesus Christ.
Traded more than half the team.
Yeah.
See, speaking of that, you see Dwayne Wade's wife going nuts on Twitter. Woohoo! I get to go back to Miami.
No, I didn't see that. No, I'm sure she was.
Woo!
Yeah, what the fuck does she care if her husband's playing on a competitive team or not?
Yeah,
she gets to go back to fucking Miami.
Well, she is independently a celebrity, so
yeah. Not a lot happening
Miami,
in the land.
Miami, thank God.
I hate that. I hate when they call
the
it
city
the land.
jerseys or whatever.
Yeah, the land.
Or
so stupid.
What about the city for Golden State?
I think that's kind of cool, actually. I like the city. Especially when they had the Golden Gate Bridge and the logo. I thought that was kind of cool. But the land of what?
Rust and decay.
Shit.
I don't know. I encourage you if you
the
want.
Grossest Great Lake out of all of the Great Lakes.
The centerpiece of the worst state ever.
It's like we're.
Can we gift it back to Canada?
Seriously, Lake Erie is where it's
Gross.
where the Detroit River takes a dump out of or into. That's Lake Erie.
If you ever want any cheap laughs at the expense of Cleveland, I encourage you to YouTube the hastily made Cleveland tourism video. But part 1 and 2, they do make far to very briefly at the very end of Detroit. But if you're willing to have some gut wrenching laughs for a minute and a half or two, it's worth it. We're gonna watch those after we're off the air because it's fun. Anyway, Pistons trades. They traded forward center Willie Reed, who had been recently suspended for domestic violence as well, but appealing. And a future second rounder for point guard Jameer Nelson from the Bulls. Nelson immediately thrust into the starting lineup, showing you just how bad Ish Smith is.
Jameer Nelson never played a game for the Bulls either.
Yeah, he's been hanging out, doing nothing, chilling, getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
No, instant upgrade in the short term over Ish Smith. Even though, like you said, he hasn't been playing all year. And also forward Bryce Johnson. The two guys that came along with Blake Griffin are already gone. Forward Bryce Johnson, another future second rounder for forward James Ennis from the Grizzlies. Ennis is split time in both the rotation, in the starting lineup and off the bench. Backup wing. Kind of a little bit of bench scoring. I think he was averaging about 9 a game this offseason, or this season rather. Upgrades to both positions of need. Are they long-term answers at either position? No, but they didn't cost anything, and you're going to get something for the stretch run this year. It looks like they're going to try and go for it.
The Jameer Nelson trade is kind of whatever. I mean, it fills an immediate need right now.
Yeah, you're not having Dwight Buckus or playing and Ish Smith playing 35 minutes a night.
No,
playing period.
They needed a guard.
They got one
with Reggie Jackson still on the bench, still
any
hurt.
ETA on him.
I you know what, I don't know.
I'll look into that while you keep talking.
Yeah, Jameer Nelson again. Whatever. They needed a guy. They went out and got him. Willie Reed is nothing that you're going to sit here and mope about.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Woo.
I'm not concerned about that. But they needed a guy again. Obviously, like you were saying, they don't want to keep on giving too many minutes to Ish Smith, or even like a guy like Langston Galloway coming off the bench. They got a guy who is obviously not quite what he was, 4 years ago, but he's a guy that's going to be able to eat up some minutes for you until they're able to get Reggie Jackson back. So,
all right. So most recent update, according to Roto World, is from 3 days ago. He was originally given a 6 to 8 week timetable in late December, which would have put him back about now, but now he's targeting after the All-Star break, realistically early March.
Okay. I'm not incredibly surprised by that, considering
he's a point guard and it's a basketball player with ankles.
And a couple weeks ago, he was sitting there taking free throws in a wheelchair. So I'm not surprised. As far as James Ennis goes, I think that I like this trade actually. Bryce Johnson and a second rounder for James Ennis. I think James Ennis is a really underrated.
It's a nice
underrated player. Forward. I think that this guy.
And 2 years ago, I believe it was still for Memphis, he did average like 16 a game, mostly as a starting.
Yeah.
So, guy has that Memphis team is awful, but the guy has shown the ability to score 15 plus points a game in a 30-minute role. So you're not going to need quite that much out of him, but if he can give you 12, well worth your cost of acquisition.
Yeah, so and I like him over the guy that they were targeting. Also, was Dante Cunningham from the Pelicans. I think that I like James Ennis better. I think he's going to be much better off the bench for you going forward than a guy like Dante Cunningham was. So I like it. Again, Bryce Johnson wasn't a guy that you were going to that you're going to miss. Bryce Johnson was a throw-in in that Blake Griffin deal. So James Ennis, I think he's an underrated forward. Can give you some quality minutes off the bench. Can score you some points as well. So I like it.
James Ennis is, by the way, a free man at the end. Both Ennis and Nelson are free men at the end of the year.
Yes. Yep.
So, and Johnson and Reed might have played a little bit. Johnson was never going to play.
No.
For this organization, ever.
No, there are fill-ins.
So you gave up a backup center who's never going to play.
Yeah.
And 2 first-round, a guy that was really never going to play, and 2 second-rounders for guys that can help you right away. That's essentially free.
Yeah.
So
I'm happy about it. I mean, I see what they're doing. Short term, yeah, they are going for it. They are trying to make the playoffs, and you know what? By all account, they should make the playoffs.
They're currently 2.5. My calculations are 2.5 out, which I'm probably wrong on this. They're 1 back in the win column, but the 3 up in the loss column on I forget who they're trailing.
Philly.
Mm-hmm. So Philly's got 2 games in hand. I think that puts them at 2.5. I think if I'm reading it,
I can look right.
It might
now.
be 2. No, it's 2. I have it written down wrong. No, that would be 2.5. Sorry. I had it right. Yeah, 2.5. Will this trade help them jump over Philly and possibly a couple other teams ahead of them make the playoffs, or was it pointless?
No. At this point right now, you've got to go and try and make the playoffs.
You have to.
You have to.
You have to try and make these type of moves, for the next 3 or 4 years, because that's what kind of financial position you're going to be in. You're going to have to.
Exactly.
You can't afford to tank.
No, and
do it the right way.
And quite frankly, the way it's there's nobody right now. You have the Pistons, the 76ers, and the Heat all vying right now for those 7, 8, and 9 spots. After that, you have the Pacers in the number 6 spot with their 8 games back of the lead in the East. The Heat are 9.5, 76ers are 10, and the Pistons are 12.5. After
I did calculate it right.
Yeah, after the Pistons, you have the Hornets who are 16.5 back.
Okay, so and the Hornets just sold too at the deadline.
Yeah, so I mean, a very definitive line is being drawn right now in the East.
Got 9 teams trying.
Yep, and again, they can. I mean, right now, realistically, yeah, it's tough to go jump 4 spots. But, you're talking.
You're realistically fighting for the right to be slaughtered by either Boston or Cleveland.
Well, right now,
or Toronto, technically.
Well, you have 4 games between the 5 and the 9 spot in the East, and then after that, it's if you manage to make up those 4 games and say the Wizards do nothing, then you're only a half game back from the Wizards.
By the way,
for the 4th spot.
John Wall is hurt too. So
yeah, so again, there's a lot of basketball left to be played too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
you haven't even had the All-Star break yet.
No, I certainly see why Stan Van Gundy made these moves. Now, again, you're rolling the dice on some of your younger players and what they can contribute going forward. Because what this deal does for you going forward is you're counting more on a guy like Luke Kennard, and you're counting more on a guy like Stanley Johnson,
Reggie Bullock too,
and Reggie Bullock. So again, you're rolling the dice with it, but at this point right now. Again, that's the cost of doing business on different fronts here, considering where you are with the cap and where you are in terms of
long-term commitments,
and really where you are in the country.
And know what really?
This is what you have to do to kind of get a star in this, in today's NBA.
It sucks.
What's that?
You're still paying $5.4 million against the cap the next 2 years for Josh Smith.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because they use that spread clause, so they cut the dollar value in half, double the years.
Is he still in the league?
No.
Really?
Yeah, he's out. You're still paying $5.4 million a year for this year and the next 2 years.
Jesus Christ. That was a Joe D deal, though.
Remember how good he was?
Yeah, I do.
And then he came here and sucked balls because they asked him to play the 3 and he was a 4.
Well, he was one of those guys that Joe D always wanted. Always wanted. Him and Allen Iverson. 2 guys that Dumars really wanted throughout his time as a GM.
Did you know they got 5 guys with dead money this year?
Who are the other guys?
Michael Gimney or Bajimney, however you say that.
Okay.
2nd round pick last year, didn't make the team. Aaron Gray, who was a center who, after they signed him, discovered he had a heart problem, so he had to medically retire.
Him, yep.
Guard Luis Montero, who was in camp, had some guaranteed money and they cut him. And Bino Udrich from last year.
Okay.
Because he had some guaranteed money this year, so they cut him.
God, Josh Smith. I forgot about Josh Smith.
I mean, the other 4 guys still collectively total $1 million, but yeah, Josh Smith, $5.4 million. He'd be at that dollar value your 6th highest paid player.
He played this year.
Did he really?
Yeah.
For who?
Pelicans.
Really?
Yep. He was waived on November 10th.
Huh. Yeah, okay.
He also played in Israel this
calendar in 2017. He also played in Israel.
2017. Yep. On September 28th, he joined the Israeli side of Maccabi Haifa for their preseason U.S. tour with the aim of being able to play in the NBA again. So I don't know if he actually went to Israel to play for them. And then in November 8th of 2016, he signed a 3-month, $1.5 million plus contract with the Sichuan Blue Whales of the Chinese Basketball Association.
So he's making $1.5 million for 3 months?
Yeah.
Pretty good deal.
I'll take it.
Yeah. I don't know how Chinese visas work. Do you have to get a visa to work there that long?
I don't know.
I don't care to find out either. Anyway. What about anything else Pistons wise?
No.
All right, moving on. More Lions because this is a slow news week, people. The Red Wings Tigers don't merit talking about. So, we're gonna play a little game of sign or resign, or sign or not resign. Lions free agents. I've got a list here of everybody who's currently up as a free agent, and I just want to play a game of: Are you interested? And if so, how much are you willing to spend? Top of the list, these are in order of their 2017 salary. So what they made in 2017, top to bottom, that's the order they're in. First, Haloti Nada. You interested in bringing the, 33 or 34-year-old defensive tackle back in any capacity? If so, how much? How long?
1 year.
Okay.
I don't know what the going rate is for a...
Somewhere in the 4s, probably.
I Thing is, I don't think he's going to come back. I don't think he wants to come back. I think he's going to retire.
Well, he has said in one. He did have an interview with Jamie and Stoney about his Walter Payton Man of the Year candidacy or whatever, and he did express that he hoped that whoever the new coach is would have a want or a fit in the scheme for a big defensive tackle.
So he wants to come back.
Yes, sounds like it. So I don't think he's. And also asked if he was planning on retiring. He said he might have done it had he not gotten hurt, but he wants to give it one more go. So he's playing football somewhere this year.
At this point right now, given his age, given his injury history, could they have used him last year? Absolutely. I'll give him a 1-year deal. Can I say 3.5?
Okay, that's what you're willing to spend.
Yep.
I think he'll get a little bit better than that somewhere else. I'd be willing to go 4.25. Even just to use him as a 2-down guy and never ask him to actually rush the passer on long yardage situations. I'd be willing to do that. And I think it'd totally be worth it. All right, next, Ziggy Ansah is a free agent, prime franchise tag candidate.
Yep. This is the guy you want to franchise too. You don't want to have anything to do with franchising quarterbacks or anything like that.
And thankfully, due to some good trade craft there, the Lions have avoided that situation.
Yeah, if you're going to franchise somebody, Ziggy Ansah is a guy.
Corners and defensive ends.
Yep.
Perfect value for that.
Yep.
SportAct does a market value tool for like their top 50 free agents, so the guys that and kind of gauges their worth based on historic data and performance and etc. Pegs him at a 4-year, $53 million contract is about what he would sign for. Is that something you'd be interested in? And I mean, period. I think he's back in Honolulu Blue next year, whether it's franchise tag or extension. What are you interested in that, or what's kind of your idea of fair market value for him?
Obviously, injuries are a little bit of concern with Ziggy Ansah. I mean, especially this past season, it seemed like I don't know. Did he ever play 2 consecutive games?
Yeah, he did.
Did he? Okay. I'm okay with a 4-year deal. The thing is, in the NFL too, is $53.14 million. Is that guaranteed?
It didn't. That wasn't part of it.
That's not part of it.
That wasn't part of the sporting feature.
You know what? I would do it.
Okay.
I would do it.
I would not do 4 and 53. I don't think I even engage him in extension talks.
No.
I'm going to franchise him.
Okay. And that's it.
That's it.
You're going to franchise him, let him play out the year, see how things go, and then take it from there.
I need one because not only he did struggle to stay on the field and missed a couple games this year, but his performance was so erratic. Mm-hmm. It was like a 3-sack game or he was silent. There was nothing in between. It was either he wasn't constantly putting pressure on quarterbacks. He was either getting sacks or nowhere to be found. Wasn't there was no pressures, there was no hits, there's no knockdowns. He was like getting there or not even close. I'm pretty sure the data will back me up on that. Now, you could still argue he's playing on one leg the whole year, and it's fine, but that's like two or 2.5 years straight of being injured. I'm not willing to go at the same time, you're not going to get him for less than a 4-year deal if you're going to engage him in a free agent, a contract extension talk. You're probably looking at 5. I'm not willing to do that at this point, which makes the franchise tag a perfect solution for the situation. All right, next, Tahir Whitehead. SportAct also put a value on him of 4 years, $34 million, which is just above 8.25 or 8.5 a year rather. Are you interested in that? Is he a guy you want to see return?
I've always liked Tahir Whitehead.
I have too.
So obviously he's a scheme guy. You got to put him in the right situations.
There's like 10 guys that aren't scheme guys.
I know. Yes, I would look to bring him back.
Okay,
definitely.
It's 4 and 34 fair value. It's 80 a year.
Yeah, I would do it.
I think it's a little bit high. I wouldn't hesitate to do it just to hold on to him. I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 6.5 a year is a little bit more fair. I would most be comfortable with like something like 3 and 20. but 4 and 34 isn't that big of a stretch. I would be more okay with like 4 and 26 and a half or 4 and 28, somewhere in there. But yeah, I wouldn't gawk at 4 and 34 either. Next, DJ Hayden, corner.
You know what? He's a depth guy, obviously. I'm not obviously a guy that you're not going to be breaking the bank with when it comes to.
Played for, I believe, 3.5 this past year. Depending on who you ask, it was 3.5 or 5.5. Not quite sure what the official number was.
I don't have it in front of me either. He didn't put up bad numbers. I mean, he had 1.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions.
Hayden?
Yes.
Also led your team in opponent's completion percentage, was the worst, rather.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Bob Felicia.
No interest?
No interest.
Okay.
Jalen Tabor coming out at the end of the year kind of has made him redundant. So, Bob Felicia.
Okay.
Linebacker, Paul Warlow.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Bob Felicia. Too slow. Linebacker for a lost time. Safety Don Carey, most known for his special team skills. Old man.
Yeah.
Injury problems the last 2 years.
No, thank you.
Bye, Felicia.
I mean, special teams you can fill with a bunch of guys.
Yeah,
those are the guys that.
And I won't be upset if he ends up coming back at 1 year, $900,000.
No, I wouldn't be upset either. But I mean, these are like corner outfielders, though. I mean,
platoon corner outfilders.
Yeah,
yep.
platoon
Grow on
corner
trees, man.
outfielders, yep.
And utility infielders, man.
Yeah.
Utility infielders, those guys fucking grow on trees. Safety Tavon Wilson.
What did he do last year? Let me see.
Lost his job.
Yeah, he did.
Not only to performance, but injury.
He had.
Quandre Diggs played too damn well at strong safety. Sorry, I don't need him. I don't need him back.
He's probably gonna. He had 8 interceptions, 3 fumble recoveries, 1 forced fumble, 3 sacks last year. He's probably gonna want
8 interceptions for Tavon Wilson. You're reading that right?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's his career.
Okay.
Let's see.
I think you were reading DJ Hayden's career numbers too, because I don't remember 3 interceptions
I'm sorry,
for him.
I was. I'm sorry. Last year he signed for $2.2 million.
Okay. I don't think I need him. I think your top 2 safeties are Quinn and Diggs going into next year. Miles Killebrew your third / you can play all 3 of those guys at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You'll probably grab a veteran piece and or draft another one as your 4th safety, and that's really all you carry. So I don't need him.
Nope.
Not that I wouldn't if they decide to make him the 4th guy and then draft a guy that they really don't play. Okay, that would be fine with that too. Next, Don Muleback is a long snapper. Who cares? Next. The only reason anybody knows the guy's name is he's been here 14 years. The long snapper. None of them fuck up in this league anymore. It doesn't matter. Tight end Darren Fells.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. I would give him.
Keep in mind, he's going to be 32 or 33 years old. When you say this, blocking tight end. Those guys never get more than 1 year deals. So don't be handing out multi-years here, because that ain't going to happen.
I'll give him 2.5 to 3.
No, 1.5 this last year, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it was. I'll give him 2.5.
Okay. I think it's a lot for a blocking tight end, especially because you're going to lean more this year on Michael Roberts upcoming. It's going to be. I wouldn't be against it, but I think that you might find similar value for a player for less money on the market. Galeese Smith be another good idea. I believe he plays for the Raiders. What about Dwight Freeney? Nah, old as fuck.
No.
Forget it. Defensive tackle Jordan Hill. You never saw him play because he got hurt in training camp. Kind of a little bit undersized and more of a pass rush guy. Players of his caliber are kind of you kind of have the same guy in Jeremiah Ledbetter already, who's on a rookie deal for less. I doubt he's re-signed. I'm not going to say, flat out no or bye Felicia like I have for a couple guys. But he's not anywhere close to the top of my priority list. Same you?
Yeah.
You even know who he is?
I know who he is.
Could you tell me anything about him?
Until you brought him up, though, I totally forgot about
Remember
him.
where he played his college ball?
Was it Penn State?
Yep. I'm going to say your least favorite university on the planet.
Yeah. That and Michigan State now. Just
Oh,
kidding.
man. Next. Linebacker / converted fullback Nick Ballore. Special teams. More known for special teams play. Got some run on defense this year.
Whatever.
Guy from Central. CMU.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. My thoughts exactly. Offensive lineman Don Barclay.
Yeah, the Barclay Empire, right?
Yeah. No. Don Barclay graded out as like the worst guard on Pro Football Focus this past year. So fucking see ya.
Yeah.
Running back Mike James, another guy who's been on the
He's played basketball for the Pistons.
Different Mike James. Been on the practice squad a little bit the last 2 years. Has gotten hurt both years. Actually played in Tampa 3 years ago and is actually pretty good. Don't care. Drafting a running back. Don't have a place for him. Bye-bye.
Yeah, sorry.
Center Travis Swanson.
Can they get somebody better than Swanson?
Yes.
Okay. Are they going to?
Hopefully. Would I be opposed to Swanson on a one? I'm so worried about the concussion history.
I wouldn't be mad if they signed Swanson to. If they signed him more to a 1 year than a 1 year deal, then I would be a little upset.
What if it was a fully unguaranteed second year?
Okay, fine.
Okay.
So a traditional NFL contract. Yeah.
Guaranteed money in year one.
Fine.
With the intentions of drafting his replacement.
Yes, that's fine with me.
Okay. I'm game. Sounds good to me. What would you be willing to spend on that 1 year deal?
Jeez. For a safety with concussion
Center
concern,
with concussion
I'm sorry,
concern.
safety. Imagine Travis Swanson
Offensive
playing safety.
Guy's like 6'5" and 310 pounds. That'd be pretty awkward.
What, 1.5?
I think you're gonna have to go a little bit, probably closer to 3.5 to get it done. But
for Swanson, 2.5.
Okay. I would agree with your assessment of value. You'll probably have to go closer to 3.5 to get it done.
Okay.
Okay. What about corner Nevin Lawson? Here's my thoughts on him.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not going to get in a bidding war with anybody else.
For Nevin Lawson?
No. I'm not going to get in a bidding war. If somebody else wants to give him some more money, then I'm willing to. Fucking, you can have him.
How much are you counting on Tease DeBoer then contributing this year?
Quite a lot.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if healthy, he's not starting across from, Darius Slay all year.
You know what? They drafted Tease DeBoer in the second round. It's
time.
It's time. Sink or swim. You know what? If it doesn't work out, then you go and you signed a guy similar to Nevin Lawson.
And here's the thing: wouldn't be re-signing Nevin Lawson with the idea of he's my number 2 corner. I wouldn't. I would be a guy that's going to fight for. And here's the thing: I don't think they're going to play a lot of traditional nickel. I think you're going to see a lot of like Arizona Cardinals nickel, where your nickel package is Quandary Diggs moves down and plays the slot, and Miles Killebrew comes in and plays, free safety, your strong safety.
A lot of people probably forgot about Miles Killebrew too.
I think that might be your nickel package. Or those two guys cover the slots. Glover Quinn plays center field.
God, you know what? They have a lot of guys in the secondary too that they need to really start to.
Well, yeah.
Step up a little bit
if you think about it, no one doesn't play man coverage or some sort of matchup zone. So Darius Slay's going to shadow the number 1 receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Tabor will go with the number 2. And then you'll have Diggs and Killebrew guarding the slots. Glover couldn't play in center field.
There you go. I'm fine with
that's your nickel. That's likely your nickel package. Or if you're going to go 3 corners, 2 safeties, Lawson or whoever's your number 3, maybe even Jamal Agnew is your slot corner off the bench. I still think Quandre Diggs is better suited for that role.
Jesus Christ!
But at the same time, God, Quandre Diggs looked really good playing deep halves and the limited run down the stretch. God, he made plays playing safety, a pure safety. There's a lot of need for a pure safety in this league, but at the same time, being able to stay in base personnel and to say, Quandre, cover that slot guy and not have to get out of your base personnel, that's a huge perk.
It doesn't Patricia kind of run? Didn't you say he runs kind of like a flavor of the week defense?
Yeah. A lot of time you see with the Pats, it was essentially what it would amount to: 3 defensive tackles, a stand-up end who might have his hand in the dirt, and 2 linebackers. That was Van Noy and the other Flowers guy. Those are your 2 and then Trey Flowers was the linebacker / end. But then you had 3 defensive tackles. You didn't have a pure second end, let's call them, or 4-3 style end. So that's, if you were to kind of adapt that defense to the personnel you have, that stand up, maybe not guy is more than likely Anthony Zettel. And then your 3 across are Ashawn Robinson, Spence, and Ziggy Ansah if he puts on some weight. Or that's how you'll do it. Or, whoever your 2 tackles are on the field. Ansah at the end. I mean, you might even see in this scenario Ashawn Robinson play some of that outside technique. With it, and then it's going to be Davis, whoever's next to him, maybe Reeves Maben. It could be, if they re-sign Whitehead, which I think that also the Reeves Maben kind of coming on to the scene a little bit at the end of the year kind of gives you the ability to not have to get in a bidding war with Tier Whitehead. If you can get him at the right price, that's fine, but you don't have to.
No, that's fine, and that's what you want to avoid too. I mean, especially in a hard cap league like the NFL. It's never healthy for your organization to get into bidding wars, especially for guys like
non-elite players.
No, exactly, like a Tier Whitehead or
Tier Whitehead is a nice player. Don't get us wrong.
But you don't want it. But you don't want to get caught with your pants down, having to pay the guy, double of what he's worth. That's the makings of a bad NFL team. I mean, that's something that the Lions had to do forever. When Matt Millen was
the Detroit tax.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the medicine of a good team, or the makeup of a good team, the chemistry of a good team, whatever it is you want to call it, is a team that doesn't have to go out there and get into bidding wars for mediocre to good guys.
League average to good,
yes, non-elite players. If Lions are getting in a bidding war for Tier Whitehead, you're taking away from somebody else.
About the one guy I would get in a bidding war on off this defense is currently Darius Slay.
Yeah.
I'm not getting a bidding war for Glover Quinn because he's too old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting into necessarily Quandre Diggs could graduate to that level. Not yet.
Are you getting in a bidding war for Ziggy Ansah?
I have the ability to franchise tag him so I can avoid it.
Okay.
I'm not getting a bidding war for Ashawn Robinson. I'm not getting in a bidding war for name a guy off the defense. Anybody else besides Darius Slay at this point. And if you look at the makeup of Patriots teams, they're willing to pay for elite corners. I mean, they paid a shit ton of money for Darrell Revis when he was still good. They pay a shit ton of money for Stephon Gilmore.
Mm-hmm.
They paid a lot of money for Logan Ryan, and then traded him.
But only corners.
Corners, safeties too. They pay a little bit of money for the safeties too.
Everybody else, no.
They don't spend a damn dime on defensive backs.
Nope.
Or defensive tackles. They would spend money on ends, but they don't. They didn't currently.
Yeah, I was going to say linemen in general because they're they did have some
defense of the week / 3-4 run stuffers grow on trees.
I was going to say they did have some of their upper echelon draft picks playing on that defense.
Oh, yeah.
This year. So there's the
Absolutely.
kid out of Texas and I forgot the other one.
Brown's the kid out of Texas name.
Yeah,
And then you're
Malcolm
thinking
Brown.
Malcolm Brown and Trey Flowers.
Yes.
Both highly productive.
Yep. Other than that, they're plugging
Lawrence
in with,
Guy, free agent scrap heap signing. Who cares? I can't even name any of the rest of them. That's how unremarkable they are.
Yeah. But they didn't have to get him in the Super Bowl.
Bingo. So we'll get into free agency wish lists and all that stuff down the road. We're going to try and wrap this up here. Holy shit, we've been going on for an hour and 10 minutes on nothing. Cut room floor here tonight. Jordan Zimmerman reportedly has gotten a nerve block injection in his neck,
Oh, great.
meaning the neck issue is still a problem, meaning dismal performances are likely to continue. And Tigers relief prospect Brian Garcia, a guy I wanted to see up with the big club before the end of the last year, finished the year in AAA, and likely appeared with the team at some point this year, will miss the season with Tommy John surgery.
Wow.
Sad trombone. All right. That is going to wrap up episode 160. Holy shit, that's a lot. Motor City Uncut, presented by the Major Sports Network Detroit. I'm your host, Dorf, joined each and every week by Major Sports Network founder Adam Hernandez, and part-timer Sean Bell continues to be a part-timer and not be here. Hi, buddy. We miss you. I know you're listening because you tagged me in something on Facebook while we were live.
Wait a second. I thought he was supposed to be working right now.
Yeah, he probably just got out. Probably was trying to call in. You didn't turn the phones on. He's like, you bastards. Quit talking about me like that. Anyway, same time, same place. Next week, Monday night, 7 p.m.-ish Eastern. Right here on the myriad of platforms that you may have found us on. So for Adam, I'm Dorf. We'll see you guys next time.
I think we're still on Twitch, too. We didn't get kicked off yet.
First time on Twitch. See how that lasts. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. See ya.